Welcome to Ashesi University's 2021 5th Annual Convening of its Education Collaborative Initiative.
This year's convening, though online, we've had the opportunity to engage very closely, build communities very rapidly, and connect across the continent like never before in the past 4 years. We engaged over 300 participants from some 120 higher education institutions, government agencies, development agencies, and industry partners from across Africa.
The first being, how do we approach curriculum development to capture industry needs?
The hope is that once we are done having this conversation, we will all have notes, points, gems, nuggets for how we can do things slightly differently when we go back.
This year's convening had 3 special tracks. One was on entrepreneurship, the other one was on employability, and we had DE&I, diversity, equity and inclusion.
The sessions on diversity, equity and inclusion really gave participants the opportunity to evaluate their institution's systems on diversity, equity and inclusion. And facilitators took them through some tools to use to identify the gaps that need to be filled in their institutions in these areas.
So very roughly, and you don't have to see the details of this, but the DISC is a tool that looks into different areas and then scores on 4 levels how far you have reached in terms of disability inclusion.
For employability, facilitators led participants in workshops as well as panel discussions and engagement on how to better engage employers in industry as a higher education institution.
One of the ways institutions' leadership can show investment in employee engagement and that they are on the side of employee engagement is by allocating some funding or some budget to that.
On entrepreneurship track, participants were able to really look at some of the successful models institutions are using to build their internal entrepreneurship ecosystem. And this really gave the opportunity for participants to evaluate their own internal entrepreneurship ecosystems and identify the gaps where they could begin to explore collaborations and partnerships to build upon.
Now, I want to understand from my people in the universities, how do we respond to the environment? How do we respond to the needs of the society and the community around us?
Very good question. Are there any takers?
The very first one is that they must be impact driven.
So as a student, I'm particularly excited to see higher education institutions actually concerned about the students, because it's interesting to see that faculty are not just seeking their own interests, but now they're seeking ways for how to improve the learning and education of students.
The collaborative nature of the sessions allowing participants to identify the areas where partnerships and collaborations can help them continue to build quality in their institutions really set the stage for attendees to find other participants in the convening that they can work together with a little help from the grants that was announced at the Commitment Summit.
I was very impressed to see universities in West Africa engaging universities in East Africa. The Education Collaborative team had created a safe platform for people to contribute, and it was very engaging.
This year convening, we did not end here, because the way we set it up, we are looking forward to supporting other institutions in order for us to be able to come back next year and say, from last year, what we decided to do, how far have we gone, what can we do in order to continue improving. And through that process, I believe we can really get too far.
So I believe that sharing of best practices will make higher education more relevant to the needs of the African continent. So I would like to express gratitude to Ashesi for this amazing initiative, which will promote collaboration among higher learning institutions in Africa.